You're listening to the Spark Radio Network, Internet radio like you've never heard before. Innovation, creativity, and imagination are all said to begin with a spark. So fasten your seatbelt and take the ride of your life and listen for the spark.
You are listening to KLRN Radio, where liberty and reason still reign.
Most writers and radio show hosts know that to connect with your fans, you need to do more than just write books or record the latest podcasts. There are many different elements that go into forming an online platform, but there are also many hidden traps. To make matters worse, solid advice on how to survive the muddy waters is scarce. In the book Hidden Traps, I talk about some of the important issues of working with an online platform, highlighting traps that could put your physical or internet security at risk or be harmful to your reputation. Are your social media posts just links with a few disjointed words, making you look like someone who can't complete a sentence? Did your new website cost you more than you anticipated? Are you leaking your personal contact details across the web without even knowing it? Then you need Hidden Traps. Hidden Traps is now available in paperback and ebook from a variety of retailers, including Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and Kobo. Visit blackwolfpublications.com for more details.
If you're 85 or younger, would you like peace of mind and comfort for your family? We're Final Expense Direct with an urgent message for you. The average funeral today costs over $8,000, but the most you'll get from government benefits is $255. How will your family pay the difference? We can help. Our senior plans start as low as just $1 a day and pay up to $30,000 for a funeral and other final expenses. Peace of mind is easy. There's no medical exam. You'll have lifetime coverage, and your plan can't be canceled as long as you pay your premiums. Call now for free information about our senior plans. Answer a few simple questions and receive approval right on the phone. Plus, call right now and we'll give you a discount prescription card for free. Call 800-553-8687. That's 800-553-8687. Again, 800-553-8687.
KLRN Radio has advertising rates available. We have rates to fit almost any budget. Contact us at advertising@klrnradio.com.
Attention business owners and independent contractors. This is a money-saving message from Tax Mediation Services. If your business owes $20,000 or more in taxes, we can help you today, right now. Listen, dealing with the IRS is no picnic. It's an intimidating and extremely stressful process, and you don't want to go it alone. Our attorneys know every law, every tax break, and every possible opportunity to help you resolve and reduce your tax debt. And if you owe more than $20,000, you may be at the top of their hit list. So don't take your tax debt lightly, because it will not go away on its own. The IRS can seize your bank accounts, your home, and even shut down your business. Call our tax experts today at 1-800-783-0810 and let us deal with the IRS while you focus on your business. That's 1-800-783-0810. Again, that's 800-783-0810.
My son was in the Army back during Desert Storm, but even then he wanted an MBA. He looked at a dozen schools, but only one offered the online education and flexibility he needed while he was in a tent in Iraq, Grantham University. Turns out that Grantham's been delivering affordable, relevant college and advanced degrees for over 65 years. Heck, if they can deliver a quality education to a soldier in a tent overseas, think about the flexibility Grantham can offer you so you can earn your degree too. It doesn't matter how complicated or full your life is. If getting a degree is on your bucket list, you'll want to do what my son did. You'll want to call Grantham. Find out how easy it is to get started on your education so you can check that college degree off your bucket list. Call Grantham right now, 800-910-1370. That's 800-910-1370. Flexible, affordable, relevant. Call 800-910-1370.
Sometimes writers feel lost, unsure why a passage may not be working. It takes another set of eyes to help us nurture our writing into full maturity. At Black Wolf Editorial Services, we strive to enable writers to develop and grow, offering manuscript critiques and line edits through a mentoring editorial style. We also offer assistance on generating a writer's bio for your websites. Black Wolf Editorial Services, nurturing your writing into maturity. For a full list of services, visit blackwolfeditorial.com.
You're listening to the Spark Radio Network, internet radio like you've never heard before. Innovation, creativity, and imagination are all said to begin with a spark. So fasten your seatbelt and take the ride of your life and listen for the spark.
You are listening to KLRN Radio, where liberty and reason still reign.
Remember the fallen host, Sergeant Dave. After the survival instincts of a 10-ton transport vehicle rollover accident in the Parwan province of Afghanistan in 2004, he emerges and returns to the state after rehabilitation with even more of an enduring tale of perseverance. Indeed, as he navigates through the bureaucracy from returning veterans from the global war on terrorism, he gains a new perspective and a renaissance that he'll share with you. A compelling fever of enthusiasm to all patriots across the windswept fields of America the Beautiful.
Welcome to Remember the Fallen at KLRN Radio, where liberty and reason still reign. And I will be your host, Sergeant Dave. I'm a global war on terrorism veteran, 2004. I'm a veteran who was blessed and honored to wear the uniform for 17 and a half years. And I actually wore 3 different types of battle dress uniforms, BDUs. When I wore the Woodlawn uniform, I served under our 40th president, my favorite, Commander-in-Chief Ronald Reagan. The second uniform was the Desert uniform, which I served under the 43rd president, George W. Bush, and the digital uniform under the 44th president. In most of my citizen soldier weekend warrior career, I was a grunt by association, meaning I wasn't Special Forces, Airborne, or a Navy SEAL. I was a Toby Keith, American soldier. What do you say? I set expectations of the Remember the Fallen show. I'm on the move when it comes to veterans' causes, past, present, and future. And I will not be in the standby mode when it comes to policing veterans who need assistance in our community. And not only veterans, your neighbors. It's real simple. We need to be policing our neighbors as well. It's easy. It's the 3-leaf clover effect. We call it clover leafing in sales. When you sold a product to someone in the neighborhood, you knocked on the door to the left, knocked on the door to the right, and across the street, you introduced yourself. So basically, what you're giving them is a head check. That's what I mean by policing. How are you? The kids, the family, just wanted to stop by and say hello. Take care. If you need anything, I'm just a doorbell ring away. That's it. That took 2 minutes. It's really breaking down in our community. And it's simple. Roger that? Oscar Tango Mike. That means on the move again. The title of the show, Remember the Fallen, is the most sacred duty we do as soldiers. Is to never forget our fallen soldiers that have given the ultimate sacrifice for our freedoms and liberties today. This topic will be my legacy. It was a life change for me, but if you take anything away from this show, what I would like you to harbor from it would be the ultimate respect, lump in your throat for soldiers, warriors that gave their life in battle for us. John 15:13. No greater love hath no man than this, that a man laid down his life for his friends. John 15:13. In the Bible, look it up. That is one of my top 5 Bible verses. Of course, my second is John 3:16, and then my third is Matthew 17:20, and the favorite soldier Psalms 23:4. Even though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will feel no evil, for you are with me. Your rod and your staff, they comfort me. This verse always reminds me there are no atheists in foxholes right when it's going to be a FUBAR. FUBAR is a military acronym expression. So foxtrot, up, beyond all repair. So we look up to the sky and say, God, if you let me live this one last time, I will become baptized, born again, etc., etc., etc. the King and I. So for all you new listeners, in which every single one of you are, this is the Remember Fallen Show with Sergeant Dave. And I dropped the F-bomb like they dropped Agent Orange in the jungles of Vietnam. Oh yeah, I will go there. But not during the opening ribbon and dog and pony show opening. But in short, that was a shit sandwich that we all are still taking a bite of today. Well, the government is, not us. So at times, I will make a hole when it comes to our veterans. Consequently, let's talk about the future of the show and what segments to anticipate. First, 3, not in any order. Remember the following: what we carry, the hidden scars of soldiers when they come back from overseas. Remember the following: policing our veterans, Vietnam, Korea, Gulf War veterans. Remember the following: the FUBAR of Agent Orange, and the bullet points of Judicial Watch when it comes to our homeland security. And we will hear from jarheads, squids, wingnuts, ground pounders, and coasties. And hopefully we will talk to butterbars officers, PFCs, which stands for Perfect for Cleaning Soldiers. And then we'll talk to specialists in the National Guard that are called the Underground Mafia. And once again, devil dogs. Germans, they call the Marines in World War I. The Lance Criminal, the third lowest rank in the Marine Corps, and the Lance Corporal Underground. That was a junior enlisted in the Marine Corps. If you haven't noticed already, I will be using the military phonetic alphabet. So get out your pen, prepare to copy. Alpha, Bravo, Charlie, Delta, Echo, Foxtrot, Golf, Hotel, India, Juliet, Kilo, Lima, Mike, November, Oscar, Papa, Quebec, Romeo, Sierra, Tango, Uniform, Victor, Whiskey, X-Ray, Yankee, and Zulu. All right, here is my first public broadcasting announcement. If you are in the customer service industry and you know the phonetic military alphabet, hoorah for you. You are gonna be the leader of that company. So by the 7th week of the show, when you hear Bravo Sierra, you will know what it means. When you hear Foxtrot Tango Whiskey, you will know what that means, and Bravo Zulu as well. You will know all this without having a drill sergeant humiliate the foxtrot out of you. I will relinquish this for topic for another segment. Okay, back to the composition of the show. To make this a hoorah of a show, not a of a show, I will need audience participation. So to raise to the bar of the show, I will need you, the listener, to email me at sergeantdave@klrnradio.com. Once again, prepare to copy sergeantdave@klrnradio.com for topics, bullet points, and patriotic concerns on what we need to do. You can tell me, get my head out of the duffel bag, Dave, Sergeant Dave. Tell me more important things. So without engaging with you, just remember the Fallen with Sergeant Dave will not last. Can you do this for me? This is going to be a long task to educate our youth on patriotism, like they were educated back in the Reagan years. Oh, did I say the 40th president, who my organization's motto is built around, his famous speech in front of the Lions Club? Here it goes. Our founding fathers here in this country brought about the only true revolution that has ever taken place in man's history. Every other revolution simply exchanged one set of rulers for another set of rulers. But only here did that little band of men so advance beyond their time that the world has never seen their like since. Evolved the idea that you and I have within ourselves the God-given right and the ability to determine our own destiny. But freedom is never more than one generation away from extinction. We didn't pass on to our children in the bloodstream. The only way they can inherit the freedom we have known is if we fight for it, protect it, defend it, and then hand it to them with the well-thought lessons how they in their lifetime must do the same. And if you and I don't do this, then you and I may well spend our sunset years telling our children and our children's children what it was once like in America when men were free. Thank you. That, my friend, is the ultimate wake-up call for patriotism. The audio of this speech is archived at the UCF Veteran Project. I had it on my phone, and I was explaining what motivates me in my organization. And I played it, and when it was done, I stood up and gave them a standing ovation. I have the archive. It's a 31-minute long, and it's on a thumb drive they gave to me, and I got a really cool challenge coin as well for doing it. Well, that's my 30 minutes of fame for the Knights. Go Knights! UCF Central Florida Knights. And I can't thank the American people enough. I graduated under the vocation rehab program at UCF with a 4-year degree. And on November 27, 2017, my daughter and I watched the UCF capture the American Athletic Conference in double overtime. It was one of the wildest FBS Conference Championship games ever, and I was there, and my daughter. It was unbelievable. The 12th ranked Knights captured the American Athletic Conference title with a 62-55 victory over number 16 Memphis in double overtime. Sound off. So let me give you some intel on a future show. I'm going to do one on the new rules of engagement for a complex global world. Future, present, and the past. So let's fast rewind and warp speed to the past, to World War II, where flamethrowers were the most cruel weapon I feel ever designed by humans. You see, in World War II, military flamethrowers were first used during the trench warfare conditions of World War I, and then their use was greatly increased in World War II. They were vehicle-mounted, as on a tank, or man-portable. The M2 flamethrower was an American-made portable backpack flamethrower. Although its burn time was around 7 seconds and the flame was only effective to out to 20 to 40 meters, it was still a useful weapon. So useful, it was introduced by the Germans. Now, you don't have to imagine much, right? The results were horrifying. Talk about a pucker factor, right? They were highly effective weapons that would either drive men from their defensive positions or simply incinerate them. Fire in the battlefield was nothing new, though. You've seen them in the medieval sieges where they would hurl fire pots over the walls of fortified towns to set fire to the village. It's as old as military. It's basically as old as dirt, really. Okay, so now fast forward to Al-Qaeda in Iraq and Taliban in Afghanistan, where you have war monks in place. So you just can't scorch a human hot dog on a grill like you did in World War II, okay? So what if you could combine the agility, adaptability, and cohesion of a small team with the power and resources of a giant organization, aka the U.S. military forces, the behemoth in the room? In other words, the old rules no longer apply. The disclaimer is out. Al-Qaeda in Iraq was a decentralized network that could move quickly, strike ruthlessly, then seemingly vanish into the local population. The Allied forces had a huge advantage in numbers, equipment, and training, but none of that seemed to matter. So George W. puts in place a 4-star general, a U.S. Army ground pounder with more than 30 years of service to put his career on the line, because he quickly realized that conventional military tactics were failing. The Al-Qaeda/Taliban took the same playbook from the Algerians in 1954 when they gained independence from France, and very similar tactics of the IRA, Irish Republican Army, and they were a paramilitary organization seeking the establishment of a republic to end the British rule in Northern Ireland. All right, back to teaching a behemoth United States military forces to improvise. It's no secret that in any failed small teams, they have many advantages. They can respond quicker, communicate freely, and make decisions without layers of bureaucracy. But organizations taking on really big challenges can't fit in a garage. They need management practice that can scale to thousands of people. This task force had to discard a century of conventional wisdom and remade the task force, so it had to get a new name. It was called Joint Special Operations Task Force. It would have to acquire the enemy's speed and flexibility. So was there a way to combine the power of the world's mightiest military with the agility of the world's most fearsome terrorist network? In short, this task force became a team of teams, faster, flatter, more flexible, and beat back Al-Qaeda. In the meantime, I'm researching some content on, the next few weeks of shows, and I go into my attic, I pull out my Foot Locker, and I go through it's like a time capsule I have, and I go through my files, and I see my newsletter from the Standard. and it was at Fort Dix. It was serving the soldiers of Charlie Company. It was a medical hold unit, and I saw this editor guy walking up to the first sergeant, always talking to him every other day about the newsletter. And I'm like, wow, that'd be a cool position, huh? So I was doing the mundane thing. I was a dispatcher for the vans that took patients back and forth to Walter Reed. It was an honorable job, but it was kind of getting mundane. So I watched this guy. I said, hey, I used to do some writing back in school, and I'd like you, you need help. And he said, sure. He asked the first sergeant. The first sergeant found somebody to take my slot. So basically, I wrote my own job ticket when I was in the military at this medical hold unit. So I was their roving reporter, Sergeant Dave Matthews. And I wrote this article, and I really saw this great poster in the day room at Fort Dix, New Jersey. And I loved it so much, I just sat there and I wrote every single bit of it down. And it means a lot to me. It has, if you're a patriot, I think you'll feel the same way. And I used this speech at the Vietnam veterans of Central Florida, aka the bunker, for a Memorial Day service. So here it goes. I'm going to start off with What is an American by Michael Brown, submitted by Sergeant Dave Matthews. An American is not delineated by a particular skin, color, or way of life. He is a person from many places, with many shades of skin, of different sizes and varied energies. He has a master's degree or may not ever finished high school. He may drive an expensive automobile, or perhaps he relies on 2 mules to carve out his existence out of the earth. But regardless of what he is, lacing the different physical features together is a bond of strength and tradition which exemplifies the American way, a way which opens doors of opportunity to all peoples who may knock upon them. An American has a spirit which was born when the bells tolled of independence, and which has released the adrenaline of his nation time and time again when its existence was threatened by an aggressor. An American does not view armed conflict as a means of getting what he wants, but rather as a means of protecting what he has. He is one who loves the very concept of peace for all nations, but will not hesitate to fight the shores of others to protect his own. An American sees the knowledge of experience in his past, feels pride in the accomplishments of the past, and has hope for the future of the world, even when others would view the days to come with dismay. But a realistic American finds no guarantee for freedom or security in the future solely because he has always had it in the past. An American recognizes the faults of his system and seeks to correct them through a process unknown to many nations, a process which does not promise absolute perfection, but one which allows for peaceful change if change is needed. That process is democracy, and an American holds that word so dear that he stands ready at a moment's notice to lay down his life for its perpetuation. An American finds nothing at all unusual about getting chills when his flag passes in review, for this flag has always been a source of inspiration. When the smoke cleared at Fort McHenry, when its sheen was reflected in the sands of Iwo Jima, and when the colors glistened on the side of the craft which took the first man to the moon, an American sees nothing strange about it getting a lump in his throat when the national anthem is played, or weeping unashamed when taps is played for one who paid the ultimate sacrifice for his freedom. He realized that the only thing that exceeds that price is the freedom itself. An American never forgets the indebtedness he has because of that sacrifice. For without it, his freedom would only be an unreachable concept in some philosopher's mind. A true American is the sense of pride in a way of life. What is an American, you ask? He is a patriot that listens to KLRN Radio. Michael Brown wrote that article 46 years ago during the tumultuous time of the Vietnam War in 1971. And what could have heightened his fervency was that on April 23, 1971, Vietnam veterans threw away over 700 medals on the west steps of the United States Capitol building in Washington to protest the Vietnam War. The next day, anti-war organizers claimed that 500,000 marched, making this the largest demonstration since the November 1969 march. And in May 5th, 1,100 146 protesters against the Vietnam were actually arrested on the U.S. Capitol grounds in Washington trying to shut down the United States Congress. This brought the total arrested during the 1971 May Day protest to over 12,000 people. And you know who was leading the pack? Ex-Senator John Kerry. I learned of his disrespect to the military back in 2005 to 2008 when I was a strong supporter of the Vietnam veterans of Central Florida, aka Bunker. And a lot of those guys who were in battle near and around Kerry told many stories about he was an officer and he actually wrote his own Purple Heart ticket. And what party elevates someone all the way to Secretary of State, disrespects the military, throws his medals into the Boston Harbor, and then this party elevates him to be the Secretary of State? Also, what he's known as is his famous quotes that he's so proud of, okay, is how do you ask a man to be the last man to die in Vietnam? How do you ask a man to be the last man to die for a mistake? I saw courage both in Vietnam War and in the struggle to stop it. I learned that patriotism includes protest, not just military service. Yeah, let's elevate him to Secretary of State. What party does that? Well, you know what party that is. You know, there are other travesties that happened in 1971 in Vietnam, and one of them is on January 7th, the last herbicide spraying by the United States to defoliate forests in South Vietnam and kill crops used to feed communist soldiers and supporters was carried out in the Tin Thuan province. Operation Ranch Hand was finished, but really we know it's not finished. We might have stopped spraying, but the effects still linger on to our brave soldiers from Vietnam. So let's not forget about the Agent Orange FUBAR. That's Foxtrot Up Beyond All Repair. And we're going to go over this very shortly. I'm going to spend a whole show on this Agent Orange FUBAR. I've already been working out the details on this Agent Orange FUBAR show with her name is Sheree Evans, and she's a Gold Star wife, and she lost her Marine husband Ernie to Agent Orange. What a strong woman. She also did talk shows, and she's with the U.S. Wives and Widow Warriors of Agent Orange. Please go to their Facebook page. Once again, U.S. Wives and Widow Warriors of Agent Orange. They're a group on Facebook. They are creating an incredible t-shirt and sweaters of this cause. You got to get one. I'm getting one shortly. It's an incredible logo. This is by Sheree Evans. She'll be my guest speaker. We're going to spend a lot of time on this debacle of how could we have done this to our soldiers, not knowing the effects, the long-term effects of this military operation during Vietnam. It lasted from 1962 to 1971 of defoliants and herbicides over rural areas of South Vietnam in an attempt to deprive the Viet Cong of food and vegetation cover. Ranch Hanna's motto also was a parody of Smokey the Bear. It states, please, in a picture of Smokey, only you can prevent a forest. I mean, they literally tricked us in parody commercials like that. So the Ranch Hand motto was poster slogan of Smokey Bear. Well, it's almost that time to go to Rack Ops mode, and we will continue this conversation to our next show, and we're going to be calling that Agent Orange Operation FUBAR. I'll have Sheree Evans as our guest speaker, and go to her Facebook page once again at U.S. Wives and Widow Warriors of Agent Orange. Tell her that Sergeant Dave sent you. So don't forget, when you're not catching up on my show, it'll be Thursday nights from 2000 to 2030 for you civilians. That's 8 o'clock to 8:30. And you can catch me at my Twitter handle at Heroic Memorials. And if you want to be part of our next show of Agent Orange Operation FUBAR, go ahead and email me at sergeantdave@KLRNradio.com. This is one of the many transparencies I will be having on this show. Yeah, I got two Twitter handles, and I want to vote which one I should keep, or as the audience, you might say, hey, keep both of them. My first Twitter handle is at Heroic Memorials. My second one is Dave Matt 4, the letter 4, and capital DAV for Disabled American Veterans, which I will be doing a great show on that. If you realize the DAV leader's little known role in fighting Nazism on the home front in 1939 in LA. So definitely going to be doing a story on that. I am a lifetime member with the DAV, Disabled American Veterans. So you tell me, which one should I keep? All right. So mark your phone calendars every Thursday night from 8 to 8:30. Remember the following with Sergeant Dave. Pop Smoke out.